I don't know about you, Ryan. That may have been the best half I've seen Sacramento play this year under the circumstances against a really good Oklahoma City team. And how about Fox and Ellis? They dominated the first half. How about this score? 64-45 at the break.
Pretty hard to believe, Grant. I'll give you this. It is the best execution of a game plan by the Sacramento Kings all season long.
All right, let's bring in Jerry. Jerry, I got to give the Kings an A+ for that first half. That was outstanding.
Oh, that's brilliant. Yeah, as Ryan was talking about, I mean, the execution couldn't have been better. Ball moving beautifully. Of course, got good shots, made good shots. I thought the Kings guards, I mean, certainly Fox and Ellis and Davion, they were brilliant. I mean, they just simply were the difference makers in that first half. And, you know, you got to be scared. You know, the Oklahoma City could make a run, but Kings play ball like that. Gonna be tough to beat them because the ball's.
And Ryan, think about this. Foul trouble basically took Sabonis out of the first half. I mean, he only had 2 points, and yet the Kings lead 64-45. That's amazing to me. That with Sabonis being limited that much offensively, that Sacramento could still have this big of a lead. I mean, that to me is a real positive going into the second half.
Yeah, Grant, it's not to me. Here's why. The Thunder are first in the NBA in blocks. And I think the game plan, Jerry, tell me if you feel differently, was get the ball as close to the paint as you can and kick it out and hit the three. So with or without Sabonis in foul trouble, I think you'd still be seeing the same thing.
Yeah, well, I do think they're packing the paint, which is one, and making it tough on Sabonis to score, but he's spraying the ball out there pretty good. He's got 4 assists, all on 3-point shots.
Bingo.
And so, you know, I think, you know, don't be too surprised if you see him maybe fire out on the 3-point shooters and give Sabonis a little more room in the inside in the second half. But you know, that's the key to this team is just find the open shooters, find the good shooters. Don't worry about who's getting the points.
Well, when they are making their shots, you know, it's a whole different ball game. I mean, the Kings in that first half shoot 45% from three. Now, is that going to continue? Well, if it does continue, the Kings are going to win the game. I got to believe Oklahoma City's got a run in them. But here's something else. We got to look at the bigger picture here. This could be your first round playoff matchup.
Yeah.
And based on the way the Kings have handled Oklahoma City this year, and assuming that they win this game, and again, I'm doing that for sake of conversation, that's got to be a real confidence booster, guys, because this could be your first round matchup.
Well, I mean, it could be, and I mean, and the Kings do match up well with them. You know, it's one of those things that I think Oklahoma City plays the same style. They both play pretty much the same way. Their centers, you know, are good passers. And now, of course, Holmgren's a better deep shooter, but he's not as physical. But then they play off of a major player like Gilgeous-Alexander. But I think their pace is very similar. Their style is similar. And, you know, Kings may be a little more of a physical team, to be honest.
Yeah, I think the Kings are a more physical team. And quite honestly, I did not like how the Kings matched up with the Thunder on the perimeter until Keon Ellis came into the lineup because they're able to switch a little bit more and put that pressure on SGA.
I don't really see any negatives right now. Let's give some final scores here. I think the Kings are going to win this game. I think Oklahoma City's got a run in them, but I love the way the Kings are playing. So I think the Kings are going to win this game 124 to 112.
All right. I am going to go with you. I think the Kings do win this game. OKC has a run. The Kings have a bigger run, put it out of reach early fourth quarter, 121 to 109.
I got 118, 111. 118, 111 Kings. I think it'll tighten up a little bit. We'll see Oklahoma City on a run, but as you guys pointed out, I mean, the key is continue to get good shots. You'll have stretches where you don't make them, you know, that you don't make all your threes, but I think they're getting enough quality shots that they'll have a solid percentage the second half.
Jerry, do you think, I mean, the Kings are playing great. I'm not taking anything away from them. That was almost a perfect first half. Does Oklahoma City look a little rusty to you? They got 2 key guys back tonight, including Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, who has not been playing because of his quad injury. Do they look out of sync to you?
Well, I mean, I do a little bit. I mean, Gilgis Alexander, certainly he's a major star, but he didn't have a great half for him. And then Jalen Williams, who's really been a Kings killer.
Yeah.
Yes.
He's the one that I thought looked out of sorts. Just
Yep.
didn't look like himself. So, and that's
No,
what
he did
happens
not.
sometimes, as you know, Grant. I mean, guys will come back off injuries and be better. But then a lot of times they're not. They're sluggish and really a little rust. So, and I think with Williams in particular, I think we're seeing that.
Napes, I don't think my physical therapist would have recommended me going against De'Aaron Fox on my first game back from a quad injury.
Probably not.
Yeah.
Probably not the best idea. And then the Kings will be looking at the scoreboard when they're flying home tonight, as both the Pelicans and the Suns are in action. Pelicans, Portland, and the Suns take on the Clippers. So, hey, after tonight, it's really simple. You got 3 games left, and boy, oh boy, I mean, how big are these next 2 games going to be? But you got to close out this half. I mean, we've seen the Kings have some awful third quarters in the past, and we saw it in the first game of this road trip, guys. The Kings were up by 8 at the half, and they looked like they had never played before against the Knicks. Oklahoma City, though, can't play defense like the Knicks. I really like the Kings here in this second half. This is set up, Ryan, beautifully for them right now.
Yeah, Grant, and here's the thing that well said, by the way. Here's the thing I really like. We're seeing guys that are starting to fill into roles in the first unit and the second unit, and they know those minutes are going to be there as the season comes to an end because of injuries. So for that reason, I think we're going to see a little bit more consistency here in the second half, Jer.
I think that's a good point. I mean, certainly, you see it really with Davion Mitchell.
Yeah.
I mean, he's one of those guys, he's going to play balls out. He always does. But knowing that he gets consistent minutes, I mean, he finds a way to be productive. I mean, I think he's just one of those guys. He's a baller. And I mean, Keon Ellis getting the starting spot, and he's really getting comfortable in that starting role. And it's a lot of times. I mean, some guys can't handle more minutes, but these guys were ready for him.
Right. Speaking about more minutes now, this starts a stretch of 3 games and 4 nights with, a lot of travel, 1 day off, New Orleans, next night, Phoenix. Boy, it would be a great luxury if the Kings could continue to put the pedal to the metal and not have to extend their guys in this game. Attrition is going to be a factor. Make no mistake about it. When the Kings get to the Suns game, any minute saved to me would be a positive right now.
Well, the thing too is every team's going through the same thing. The Suns and all the teams that are fighting for these spots really are playing a lot of games here at the end of the season. Whether it's the Lakers and the Warriors and Suns, and so. But I agree. Yeah, if you could rest guys, that would help. Of course, more importantly, just keep playing like you're playing, because if you're playing this, if you can play like this, a lot more halves, you'll win all 4 games. And I mean, because
the problem is we haven't seen the Kings be able to do that.
No, we haven't.
All year.
No, we
so
haven't.
Why would I think it's going to start now?
Well, we still have how many games left?
You got to dream. You got to dream.
Yeah.
I mean, again, if the Kings can close out this game, then all of a sudden what looked like a horrible road trip ends up being a good road trip. I mean, if you told me the Kings would go 2-2 before they got on the airplane, I would have taken that based on the schedule. All right. So
sure,
you still have that opportunity right now. And then you go home and, hey, it's right there. It's there for you at home. No excuses. If you get past this game, you got it.
Teams, but they're home. It's at home.
Right.
You're a good team. They're a good team, but you're at home. And so,
the only disadvantage that I really see, again, I hate to, but the fact that you got to play the Suns when they're already in Sacramento waiting for you, and again, I know it's a home game on a back-to-back, which makes it a bit easier, but 3 games and 4 nights, and the Suns don't play the night before. That is a big advantage for the Suns. It just is.
Sure. No question about it. But then again, it's not like, certainly the Kings know the Suns know the Kings.
Yeah.
And you are at home. Yeah, it's an advantage for the Suns, but it's not undoable. That's for sure.
Yeah. Yeah, no doubt. And speaking of undoable, if you come out in this third quarter, I mean, the Kings had 2 or 3 different times where they had multiple stops in the second quarter, 3, 4 stops. you put a big quarter together to start this one, you might well and see SGA go to the bench early because you're not going to rush him into big minutes coming off of an injury.
No, you're
not.
That's
what they need. I mean, they really need a run here to start. And but your point about the defense, this team is playing better defense. There's no doubt about that. It's a better defensive team. But what hasn't happened, Bobby, they haven't been as good offensively consistently, and that's what we're hoping we see not only in the second half, but the rest of these games.
No doubt.
Well, it's outstanding. Don't forget, post-game show coming on right after this one, and then there will be 3 games left. The other aspect, if you win this game, you pretty much are going to do no worse than 8, all right? Because then the Lakers don't have the tiebreaker with Sacramento, and they'd still be, no matter what happens, a game back. And so, the math's pretty simple. So, that's another aspect about this game. If you win, you're not going to be any worse than 8 in all likelihood, and you still have a chance at 6. So there's obviously a lot to play for, just like the games later. I mean, is Brandon Ingram going to be back on the floor when the Kings take on the Pelicans? By the way, a team that has manhandled Sacramento this year, the New Orleans Pelicans, they finally snapped their 4-game losing streak in their last game. Boy, if they get Ingram back, what a lift that would be.
Yeah, and with Ingram, I mean, he's one of those guys kind of like OG Anunoby. I mean, how often does he really play? I mean, he's a heck of a player, but I mean, he's a guy that misses 30 games every year. And so he's been out a while. So even if he comes back, you wonder just how sharp he'll be.
Going to be fun, guys. Jerry, we appreciate it. We'll look forward to chatting with you tomorrow at 4:00, and it's coming down to the wire. I know it's a cliche, but it's true. Every single game matters. People say, oh, the NBA regular season. No, every game matters big time right now.
Yeah, and as you know, I mean, what a thrill just getting to watch this team in meaningful games in April. How about that?
You know what else?
Straight years,
You know what else is a thrill? Getting to see cardboard Jerry Reynolds watch real Jerry Reynolds do the halftime show.
I
love it.
I like cardboard Jerry. He was a good looking. He was a little younger and better looking. Mrs. Reynolds keeps him around just to remind her that there was better days.
Unbelievable. All right, guys, all smiles right now. Will we be all smiles after the game? Jerry, we'll talk to you tomorrow. Take care.
Talk to you tomorrow. See you guys.
See you.
All right, Rhino, good job. We'll talk to you in about an hour, my friend.
Sounds good.
All right, everyone else, enjoy the second half. Talk to you.